NHL schedule release didn't have too many surprises, at least not surprises that weren't already revealed for the local team, but it sure came with some striking characteristics. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. We already knew the Penguins would be opening their season in Manhattan against the Rangers and, of course, Mike Sullivan. That's October 7. We found out that they'll be opening their home schedule on October 9. It's my birthday, by the way. That'll be against the Islanders. Another game against the Rangers that weekend, and then just like that, boom, they're out west facing all three of the California teams. We also knew that the Penguins would be facing the Predators in back-to-back games in Stockholm, Sweden, November 14 and 16. What we found out yesterday was that there will be 4 days off before and after those 2 games. Otherwise, well, there sure are a lot of back-to-backs. In fact, it takes only a casual glance to see that every other Saturday and Sunday has both a Saturday and a Sunday filled in. There will be a total of 16 back-to-backs. That's one more than any other Eastern Conference team, and it'll be the most back-to-backs the Penguins will have taken on, according to team historian Bob Grove, since the 2017-18 season. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking, you're thinking about the Penguins still having the oldest average age in the NHL, and you're thinking about the impact on Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang. But let's take it further. 9 of the first 14 games are on the road, and as I mentioned, one of those trips is one of the toughest ones. In March, the Penguins are going to play 17 games. That's more than a game every other day, and it's late in the season. And if you factor into it, on top of all this, the Olympic break, in which your best player is going to be doing absolutely everything within his heart and soul, and fairly so, for Canada to win gold, he's going to go from the Olympic break into 17 games in March. So what I'm trying to say here without explicitly saying it is this is going to be an uphill climb for this team to qualify for the playoffs if you're one of those people who believe that they're capable of doing that. I believe that they have the base personnel to do that. I also believe, and I have no right to do this, that they need young players to really rise up, like really be above what we might expect they can be in the 2025-26 NHL season. If that were to happen with even, 2 or 3 of them, and if the team were able to cut down on all of the odd man breaks and chances against under Dan Muse, we might see more of a benefit to the quality offense that they were able to generate with essentially this group this past season. And from there, magically, just like that, you wouldn't see Sid with a minus 20 or whatever it is that he ended up with. If they can get goaltending that isn't the rock bottom variety that they got for the better part of the first 2/3 of last season, they can become a little bit more grounded defensively and a little bit more confident, taking some chances maybe offensively. But I also know from a lifetime in this industry that the more ifs I'm throwing into the pile, the less chance of there being some positive outcome. And this schedule, not going to sugarcoat this because I'd have no reason to, doesn't help anything. It just doesn't. It's nice that there are at least a couple of blah opponents in the early going, but for the most part, it's a grind. It's a grind right off the bat. It's a grind in going overseas, regardless of the cushion on either side of that. It's a grind with compacted games into December and January, 14 games and 15 games, respectively. There's a very loose February, but again, not for Sid. And they come back with 17 again in March. that does not favor this team as it's currently constructed based on what we know. So once more, what's needed here is what we don't know. We need to see players who will become impact types, top 6 types, top 4 types on the back end, top level goaltending. Could you see Artur Silovs carry that Calder Cup run into something real here? Could he push Tristan Jarry? Could Jarry continue to play the way he did last season? Again, I'm getting into all kinds of Fs here, but you get the idea. This schedule only makes for more Fs. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Mike up in Franklin Park. He says, DK, I love Kyle Dubas has done this offseason, but wasn't this whole retool delayed a year, and didn't it waste one of the final years of Sidney Crosby because of Dubas's first offseason? Now, I liked Erik Karlsson, Riley Smith, Lars Eller, Alex Nedeljkovic acquisitions at the time, but Ryan Graves, Tristan Jarry, Noel Acciari, Matt Nieto, it held the Penguins back, and it still, to an extent, hamstrings the team now. Could there have been more of a hybrid retool? Yes, Mike, there could have been. But to Dubas's credit here, he's been open and forthright in acknowledging exactly what you're saying since then. He brought it up again just recently. Everyone knew, including at the time, that Dubas was putting together something where he came in as the new GM. He looked at who was here, what the environment was, and he said, one more, you get one more. Now, he couldn't say that and then not support it, because then he wouldn't be doing his actual job. So while a little bit too much emphasis gets placed on Karlsson specifically as it relates to this, Karlsson was really just an exchange of contracts. Karlsson wasn't, let's go get ourselves a superstar. There was some money that he wanted to get off the books. There was a good partner in San Jose, in Mike Greer. The Penguins and Sharks worked some things out. Karlsson came here, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Most people, I think, if you go back to that time, were of the mindset that it wouldn't work, meaning on the outside, and it didn't. But was it a necessary evil so that there could be more conviction in what needed to come next? Yes, I think so. I think it would have been a very, very hard sell, not just to Sid and the guys in the room on what needed to change, but really to everybody here in Pittsburgh. If Dubas hadn't tried at least once, and Sid was 2 or 3 years younger, maybe your question today, Mike, would have been, gee whiz, why didn't they try something more while Sid was still young? And one other point that's worth bringing up here is that Dubas didn't exactly walk in here with a clean slate. As I just mentioned, the Karlsson trade alone was cleaning up a lot of Ron Hextall's mistakes. The salary cap had been stagnant, obviously, across the NHL, but in Pittsburgh, they were bumping their heads on it for years. The Penguins were. So none of this was, as if he just comes in and takes over some expansion team. He had to work with what was here, both good and bad. I appreciate the question, Mike. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.